call. Today is the 26th. It's our 77th meeting together. And these are the notes I sent out one day late, but last week we have the project board here and the items to do and in progress. And then last week we talked about PR404, which was submitted by Keysight and team. Specifically to start providing code for the underlay routing. And then we had a big conversation about that. So that's what we did last week. And I think there was in issue 390, there were a couple more questions submitted in by Vincent to finish off this issue. And then we were waiting for the community to take a look at 395. So, and last week, Kumaresh, Cynthia, and Amit came. So, and here are the links to the recordings down here in case you guys need to see them. So, anyway, go to the project board here. Oops. So GitHub gives you a way to track projects. And so this is kind of what I've been doing here. So I was curious, did anyone have a chance to try what Chris was asking in this one about experimenting with, I know it's not the highest priority, but did anyone have a chance to take a look at this? And Chris, you were just asking someone to take a look, right?
Yeah, Yuri contacted me for more information.
Uh-huh.
I gave him a more detailed breakdown, and he said he was going to discuss it with the team.
Oh, okay.
So there's still conversations going on the side channels.
Uh-huh.
And you know, I haven't heard anything back for a couple of days, but I know that they were looking into it. Maybe, I don't know, Reshma might have a comment on that or not. I don't know if Yuri's with us today.
Yeah, it might not be his time zone over there. Let's see if Yuri's on. I don't see Yuri. Okay. No. So I'll just put a note in.
Yeah, work in progress, I would say. That's a fair description.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Sorry, I had to stop sharing there for a minute. I was having that little tab at the top. I can't control the screen. So can you guys see my screen okay again?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then this one, 382, we didn't talk about it last time, but Marian was saying that PR 396 should fix this BMV2 pipeline source code change that was needed. And so basically someone had come to us and said that that there was, when you're going through these, that it was out of order, you know, the fields were out of order. And so we had created a task to fix it. And so theoretically this should be fixed. So just wanted to let you guys know. And I'll close it out today. Yeah. Okay. And then did we want to go over the one from last week and talk about it more? The one from, actually, Amit and Mircha presented it, this one here.
Yeah, Mircha here. I have a comment about it. So based on the feedback from last week, so last week behavior was that if you do not have a route or a route is not being matched, it will reflect back the traffic, it will hairpin it. And if you have a route, it will respect the route. So the feedback was to have a route even for hairpinning. So I asked a question, I think, under issues, how to define that. And the way I'm suggesting it to define, if we provide next hop ID as null, so it supports already inside side object ID null. So if you provide it as a null, it will hairpin on that route. If you provide a port or an interface, it will respect what you provided. So this is a behavior that will gonna make the change and submit it if everybody agrees with it.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, and I can find the issue number while we talk about it. Is that work for everyone else?
Just to clarify that, so for hairpinning, if there is a route, to even reflect back, if there is no route, then what would be the action? Would it drop in that case?
Drop, yes. So that was a comment from last week that actually if you don't have a route, it should drop, not hairpin as it's doing today. And you should add a default route on purpose if you want hairpinning. And it can be something like 0.0.0/0, next hop ID, file object ID null, and that will start the hairpinning. But if you don't have it, it will just drop.
Okay.
Only one comment there. I think the next hop is needed because how do we resolve the, for example, we need to do R, figure out the MAC address, etc. Right? We need a next hop. How would we do that if the next hop is null?
So at this moment with a port ID, we are adding support only for port. It seems it's working fine. So we have not yet got to this problem.
Yeah, I can't think from the pipeline.
Yeah.
There's the resolution that happens to fill the MAC address. I'm not sure if we don't have a next hop, how do we figure out what to send it to?
But then how do we define, because somebody asked about the flag last time, how do we define when the route should respect the route, the hop, or it should hairpin back? So that was my question. I put it there in the community. How we do that, we using the SI API as a definition of hairpin or respect the routing. So the only idea that I could think of is to put the null as hairpinning, and then that doesn't require any update or any change to the SI API.
I see. So one option could be if it is a ECMP, if it is an ECMP route, then the platform could decide on the ECMP strategy, right? Which is anyway a platform decision. And in that decision, they could, one of the strategies is to hairpin instead of doing the hash, right? So nothing changes. It's just a platform implementation on how we do the ECMP.
Yes, if you have ECMP enabled, but if you don't have it enabled,
it is still, I'm just saying it is still a ECMP strategy, right? If the ECMP strategy is left, let's say it's left to the platform. If it can do hairpin, it can do a hairpin as the ECMP strategy instead of doing a hash and figuring out per flow.
but
So
even
the
for
routing wise,
ECMP,
it
you
looks the
should,
same.
even for ECMP, you should be able to specify which ports are taken part in the strategy.
Yeah, that comes from the route. That comes from the route. The route and the next hop follow what is the proper way to set it up, right? So you have an ECMP route with two next hops with the two ports. And the ECMP strategy, you could have multiple different ways of you doing ECMP on those two ports. So the route, what I'm saying is the next hop is set up right with all the next hop IP address being there. The MAC address is resolved by the implementation set up in the way it is done today. And the only thing is now once we have a ECMP route, what is the strategy we use to actually load balance the traffic? One way could be traditionally it is done by taking a hash and picking the interface based on the hash of the ECMP members. Instead of that, it could be that we don't do a hash, but we just do a hairpin. We just choose which port it came from. So it's kind of in the implementation. right? Either all agree or no. So yeah,
thinking.
Yeah. That is one way. So then if you had routes with specific ports, it would be specific ports. There's no ECMP involved then.
And I don't have to make comments in the issues. I'm just writing down what I'm hearing. What do you guys think of What do you guys think of this? Does it need more thought or?
Yeah, I think that next hop ID null is kind of incorrect misnomer, because if the platform gets a next hop ID null, the natural thing to do is to treat that route as a black hole route and drop the packet. So doing a special casing for next hop ID null as a hairpin seems incorrect, and it wouldn't match with the platform behavior. So I guess that's what Sanjay is suggesting. Maybe we should just make it an ECMP and have a special type, which is like a hairpin type.
Would that require a new type in SCI as far as defining ECMP type?
Or I'm thinking it's just either that or it's just ECMP, and the ECMP strategy is whatever hairpin. Right, instead of doing you could do a 5-tuple hash, you could do a 3-tuple hash for ECMP, right? So the similar way, this is a hairpin is one strategy.
So would that be something that would need a new enum in the side definition in order to select that mode?
No, but the DPU strategy will be to hairpin. There is no more selected. It's just ECMP implementation on the DPU will be hairpin.
So that'll just be something that we specify. I mean, we're gonna codify that as that's how it shall behave for everyone. Because I heard some discussion saying the vendor may choose to do this or that. How do we get predictable behavior for a test, for example?
Yeah, and vendor, and another thing is that are there use cases where you may have hairpinning or non-hairpinning, and would ECMP make sense for non-hairpinning use cases? I mean, are we binding ourselves that ECMP always means hairpinning means there is just never gonna be any use cases where ECMP can be used?
It's not that never. It's now as part of this PR. This is how it will be. And in the future, when the need comes for another ECMP method, when that method gets contributed, the API for it will have to be resolved at that time to add a switch between the two ECMP strategies.
So if we use this attribute, then this is saying explicitly then that this will always be hairpin. In our DPU strategy.
So the way I understood it now is that today, if we create an ECMP route, the ECMP strategy for DPU, for BMV2, will be hairpinning, basically to favor the port where the traffic came on. And no change to the SI API, just if you create an ECMP route, it will do hairpinning as a strategy. If you put a static route specifying the port, the interface, it will respect it. And in the future, if there is a need for another strategy, it will be solved at the time.
Okay.
Or in other words, what we are saying is whether that hairpin is an implicit thing that happens internally, or is it explicitly configured as a parameter, right? It's still using the default route. I mean, the ECMP route to do the decide. I mean, the mechanism is to do the ECMP, but the hairpin behavior, is it implicit or is it a explicit thing? If I understood the discussion, that I'm not sure. Yeah, no opinion.
Are we saying that the API from the control plane side north to south will remain consistent across BMV2 and hardware, and the underlying BMV2 or underlying hardware can choose to do hairpin or regular ECMP based on the actual, situation, the topology at that time? The SI API remains the same?
Yes, the SI API remains the same, but also the DPU behavior will be to hairpin. So we'll have to specify that in respect to hairpin. If another strategy is being chosen, then an API needs to be created to allow you to select the strategy. But I think the expectation will be that the behavior will be the same across all vendors, and the desired behavior is to hairpin.
Is the hairpin requirement sort of a sentence here is related to BMV2 or hardware also? DPU in general?
To the dash enabled DPU, yes. I mean,
it may not be always hairpin, right? It could be anything. And yeah, it could be hairpin most of the time. That's also there. So yeah, sorry, I joined late. Yeah, please continue.
my understanding was that hairpinning was the desired behavior. Then, if not, my whole understanding was wrong.
Yeah, hairpin is most of the time the likely utilized behavior for DPU, for Dash, especially in smart switch use case. But whether the hardware implements it in a regular ECMP format or any other format is up to the vendor, right? Yeah, that's what I remember discussing last time.
Okay, so then are we all in agreement? This is a good way to go forward?
Cool. So to summarize, right? So what we're saying is no change in. I mean, we'll still need routes with proper next stops, etc. for both specific routes and for the default, which will actually, at least in practice, will be used for the hairpin. For all routes, I mean, what we are saying is it will be properly. There's no missing fields, right? There's no all the next stops are provided, etc. But if it is if you need hairpin behavior, you could achieve it by having an ECMP route. So now you have 2 ports to select from, right? 2 or more ports to select from. And which port you select from, one of the ways could be by simply using the hairpin and putting it back on the ECMP. Does that summarize that?
Does that work
Okay,
for
that
everyone?
sounds, yes, that works for sure.
Thanks, Sanjay. Okay, so what's the next step on this one then, Marcia?
We will modify the PR to do that. So basically, if you specify a next hop as port 3, it will respect port 3. If you put port 379, it will hairpin on one of this on the port from where it came, provided the port it came is 379. So
Okay, awesome. And did we want to go over the updates to the hero test / SONiC HLD numbers today?
yes, will be good. Although there are not many changes. I think the only changes are mappings dropped from 10 million to 8 million. And then, of course, 16 and 32 and so on.
Okay. Did you want to display or would you want me to?
If you can display, it will be great.
Sure.
That's the only change. It's mappings dropped by 2 million.
Yeah, let me remember the number real quick. I'll have to look it up. Just 1 second, guys. Take a coffee, sip of coffee, wait for me. There we go.
I believe it's a third PR dash killer requirement
403.
update. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I was just looking it up. Okay, can you guys see this one here? And did the aging, we did the CPS changes. Well, I should know the number. I'm the one who made some changes. Okay. So the two files that were changed were here. This is for everyone who's not familiar on the call, there's the SONiC HLD that's authored by the SONiC team, mostly Prince with the help of VJ, Sanjay, Marian, everybody there. So these are the changes here in that PR. And a couple of comments here that Excite Labs and everyone helped. And then the second one, we call this the hero test. It's called program scale testing requirements. And so these were the changes here. And was curious if, and I can try and view the file. How do you view it in the nice format? This one? Yeah. And so did anyone have questions?
Hey, Christina, this is Bud. Hey, just curious, do you know why the number of mappings decreased from 10 million to 8 million?
I do. It went back to the SDN team. And the SDN team, let me see here. So one of our members from the VNet / SDN team kind of came back and they were researching, official numbers for mappings, including peering. And we support 64,000 per VNet today. And we wanted to support 128,000 per VNet or VPC and $1 million, including all paired VPC. So basically, they were just making corrections to what the numbers first were primarily from about a year and some change ago. And so they just kind of went back and took a second look.
Okay.
Right. And I'm sorry, I'm just looking through my notes here. And Mircha, do you remember anything else about that?
Oh, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So Gerald, I'm sorry, I'm looking through the conversation here on my other screen. And so for 200, Gerald was saying 200 gig number would be 8 million, blah, blah, blah. So yeah. So I guess just a review with the SDN and VNet team to make sure that we had it right based on what we're doing today versus a year and a half ago.
But again, these are how is the recommended numbers or minimum numbers. I mean, if a vendor can do more, there is no problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
sounds good.
Marcia, do you think this one's ready to go then? Ready to merge?
I think the CI was failing with some spell check or something. Let me correct that
Okay.
and I'll ping you.
Okay, sounds good. So, just want to make sure everyone saw that one. Oh, and thanks Sanjay for the input on that.
Sure, Christina. Thanks.
Yep. And then, oh, someone opened a new thing here. I don't know if, would this be Yuri here?
Yeah, this is Yuri. We, wanted to upstream some of the metering test cases. So that's this PR.
Okay.
Looks like we need a test case fixed in there. It's failing CI.
The SCI APIs may not be the actual recent one here. They were slightly older. Yeah, so we'll need some help to update to the latest SCI after changes from Pensando. From Vijay. Vijay, would you be able to take a look at this as well?
Sure. So I think are you referring to the counter gets that are not working?
Here the metering tests are covering all the aspects of metering, but the API, the Dash API, I think they were changed a little bit, after we got the snapshot and we had tested it. So we'll need to update the Dash API for metering in these test cases to the latest.
I see. Okay. Who can I talk to regarding this just to understand what the failure is?
A failure. Yeah, you can. I will write the name here and the email.
Okay.
Yuri Harhas and also Chris, I think, saw the build failure.
Yeah, I was looking at the CI test run and I couldn't find a detail on the actual failure. It's interesting. I suggest it's not showing in the printout what actually failed. But I suspect my first guess would be they're omitting some new attributes, and the P4 runtime API is going to be complaining that you didn't specify a few attributes. You have to specify all of them. This is the same thing that happened when this feature was first added. But I can't see it in the CI run, but you should be able to see it. Like if you run the test locally and look at the BMV2 log, it'll probably say parameter mismatch. If that's the case, you just have to fill them in. But I'm happy to look at it too. But the CI run on the actions printout in GitHub doesn't show enough detail.
So we need to look at, you said the log files, you said?
Yeah, I would look at the BMV2 log and look for an error message about parameter number mismatch. And then if you do that, you can actually see, you could go back to where the metering was added, that PR that was added a while ago, and look at some of the recent commits. You can see the parameters that were added in the test case to rectify that. It's probably the same thing, I'm guessing. But I'm happy to work on this back channel one-on-one if he needs help.
Thank you. Thank you. I just pasted Yuri's email as well here in the chat, Vijay and Chris.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can even do like a quick Zoom session or something, offline, and just close the gap quick, whatever works for your.
And Now that's not the same one as Reshma. Before you joined, we were talking about Yuri working on that 395 also. Sign that out on the website.
He's reviewing the 395.
Yeah.
This is Chris. Yeah, got it. Yeah, this is different.
Okay.
To review it.
I thought so, but I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, so those are the PRs. I do need to go through and clean up a few of these, so I know that. And then moving over to the issues. So I wanted to talk about this one. So NVGRE, so new issue, guys. This output was added by PR404. And Bub was wondering, is there a requirement for parsing incoming NVGRE packets? And I'm hoping Marian's on the phone here. Marian, is this a thing? If you're on the call, Marian. He's on another call. I'll just type a quick question here. But what were you trying to go for here?
I just noticed in the P4 code there was there's a P4 parser and it included the NVGRE parsing. And I was wondering if that was deliberate, like there's no requirement for it, or we just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah, there is an NVGRE currently is only used for NCAP. There is no support for packets coming to the pipeline with NVGRE. They can only go out. So when the other side will be implemented, we'll need parsing too.
So right now there's no requirement?
There is no use for it.
No use for it? But there might be in the future?
Yeah, that's correct.
Does that help, Bud?
I think so. So, I mean, it's not there in the code today, of course. But there's no requirement for it today, but there might be a requirement in the future. I mean, I guess I'm not familiar enough with the topology to know that like the dash device is not supposed to receive NVGRE packets. Like if those always go to different devices and it just happens that our dash software hardware never needs to process it. Or if it's the case that we just haven't gotten through adding the code and tests for dash, that we're not at that point yet that it's needed.
Yeah, it's the second.
Okay.
I'm saying that there is no implementation that would use NVGRE on ingress. That's why we are not parsing it yet.
Okay. So like two dash devices today wouldn't talk to each other through NVGRE.
Yes, that is our assumption too.
So why did we add parsing for it? I mean, I understand future, but there's a difference between actual and future, right?
Hey, Marian, is there a reason the output was added?
Yeah, for service tunnel. Service tunnel, the second endpoint is not a dash device.
The endpoint is a non-dash device.
It's
And
a tunnel towards a public IP somewhere else on the internet.
Okay, and the packets that come back from that external host come back with a different encapsulation?
I'm not sure actually. It would be nice to ask Prince. I don't know if he's here.
He was on.
Yeah,
a
but my
plane.
point is that we only did outbound for now.
Okay. Outbound
Sorry,
for now.
Marianne, you mentioned as you're looking at only outbound for the NVGRE, not inbound?
I'm saying that's what we implemented.
Yeah, it will be good to clarify this in the next call if Prince is also present.
Yeah, he had to fly internationally, so
Got it.
he's over in India right now, I believe. So I'll try and get that answer when he comes back. Is this super pressing, bud?
Yeah, it's basically a work stoppage until I get the answer to this question. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It was just curious. I mean, there are other things, other issues that arise when this is implemented, and I just wanted to try to understand, is this coming or not?
Okay. Okay. Thanks for bringing it up. Thanks for answering, Marian. I'll just make a quick comment here.
One thing that I can say, Mircea, here is that if you search through the documents, I see NVGRE mentions that, but I don't remember the context.
If I did what?
If we git clone and then do a grep in all these MD files in dash repo, NVGRE, it's the word, it's present in there. I just don't remember the context. So I assume it's coming.
Okay.
Yeah, but it'd be nice to have clear requirements for support, right? Like upon, define those requirements before we start adding code that may be used.
And that's all I had for this week. Do you guys have anything you want to bring up or talk about? Or 42 minutes of code. Okay, well, then I will stop the call. And I believe we have behavioral model tomorrow if anyone has something to bring to that call. So I can give about 15 minutes back. And I hope you guys